And I'd like to welcome Larry, who's online with us this evening, and we will call the roll.
Riggs?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Eight?
Yes.
Okay, first thing on our agenda is a presentation. Mr. Schlegel.
Yes, Your Honor. This is the time of year, we start in a new year, and so we do our departmental updates, and this evening, we are starting with Parks and Recreation. So we have Chad Runners, our Director of Parks and Rec, to tell us all what's going on there.
Thank you, Mr. Slago. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Today I get to give you the annual report on the Parks and Recreation. So after 7 months of being at the helm, now you get me. So I'll try to keep it short and sweet compared to my predecessor at times. So our mission statement for the Mexico Parks and Rec is to provide a safe and professional, high-quality, affordable leisure and recreation service to the residents of Mexico. So when we're doing programming, when we're looking at our vision, this is kind of what going back to with what we're doing is looking at our mission statement. One of the things far as trying to build culture among our staff is have this acronym far as HEART goes. To ensure the growth and success of Mexico Parks and Recreation Department, we embody HEART. H stands for honor, E stands for effort, A stands for attitude, R stands for respect, and T stands for teamwork. So to us, HEART's not just an acronym, it's the foundation of our commitment to excellence in service. So, you know, whenever we're as being in our profession of being a servant to the taxpayers, being a servant to the community is giving the utmost respect, giving the utmost courage, and doing the right thing at the right time. So no matter where we're at, whether we're the supervisor, whether we're a maintenance worker, is always knowing that we're here to serve the community and here to do the right thing at the right time for the community. So trying to embody that culture and having that family atmosphere among us, knowing that we're all in this together, so that we must demonstrate a little heart. So it's kind of the culture we try to create. Our staffing that we have for us in the Parks and Rec Department, we have 9 full-time staff on the parks side of things, which is the breakdowns there. As far as on the pool, we have a manager, we have a pool assistant manager. We try to hire around 5 cashiers to operate the front desk and cashiers, and then 20 to 25 lifeguards is with where we try to, or with what we had this past summer. That is a little bit higher with the slides being there. It did take an additional staff, so that number is a little bit higher now versus in the years past. We have 2 cemetery full-time workers and 1 in the forestry department, so that breaks down as far as the full-time help goes in our budget is the way the breakdowns on that goes. Some highlights from fiscal year 24 in the forestry division. We had about 3 years worth of limbs built up over the years that we were able to contract to get grinded up, and so that was a nice cleanup at the brush yard. Our brush yard does operate year-round. We have summer hours and winter hours. And then the community is able to pick up any mulch or wood or anything that we have there during operational hours. So our outlook for 25 is we had 2 capital outlay projects that were approved and that we've been able to achieve so far. One of them was the brush pad extension. We doubled the size there, so been very good on the safety, very good on unloading and loading the patrons that come in and utilize it. The other one is our 2-person lift, which last week came in, and so we will start being able to use that for as our trees go. And then the last thing is we're looking at different hours of operations, and so hopefully during the winter hours we will have 2 days. Right now we only go on Saturdays, but as far as fiscal year 25, we're looking at going on 2 days of operation. So on Wednesdays and Saturdays is what for the brush yards to just 1. Another department that I oversee is in the cemetery. So we got to complete our new building, which has been a great addition for us for our space and storage. We had 55 burials last year, which, and then we have approximately about 300 plots remain in the cemetery that we still can sell. So that's with where we're at. So roughly 8 to 10 years left is with what we're calculating for us till we are full in the cemetery. The outlook for us are, we did put in the capital outlay project, a dry dirt bin. So where the new cemetery building is at is building a new dry dirt bin for storage, and then demoing the Kwanzaa hut, which is currently located inside the cemetery. Some highlights for fiscal year '24 in the Park and Rec operations and programs is Kiwanis Lake stayed under control, so hopefully we get another year of staying under control. We did try to do some different things this year, which did work out, but we don't know if it was due to what we did or with Mother Nature's help, because it wasn't as hot. So we did have a good year at Kiwanis Lake as far as keeping the algae at its minimum. We had a shelter in Northeast Park that had hail damage and insurance claims, and we were able to wrap that shelter up, so that's been repaired. And then collaboration with different organizations, but just three of them that I highlighted was Arthur Hills. We do a golf camp there. The YMCA for its facility usage, and our Challenger Soccer, which puts on a soccer camp for 1 week. Our outlook for fiscal year '25 is the dog park. We do have the materials has been ordered, and hopefully within the next 2 weeks we'll get the layout and still on track to be completed by the end of February, first part of March. So then an entrance at Taronlu Park, which has been partnering with the Public Works on doing that project after the research and as far as the identification there, and then begin working on our master plan. So at the last meeting, we had our master plan where we approved, so the firm has been selected, and we started organizing the stakeholders, and hopefully, probably in the next couple weeks, we'll get that timeline ready, and so by the end of the calendar year, hopefully we'll have that conceptual plan ready to go to present. Then far as '24 highlights for the pool, we got to add the 2 additional slides, which was a great addition to the pool, great features. The attendance and revenue was increased from '23, and then we assisted the YMCA. They had some repairs that they did that takes longer, and so they utilized our pool from 4th of July on during non-operational hours for their programming, so we were able to collaborate with them to ensure that they were able to do their programming as well. Yep. Some of our outlook for us on the pool is in replacing the loungers. We're starting to replace some of the furniture inside the pool, so this will be a couple of years when we'll get all the loungers replaced. We're looking at aquatic center hours as far as changes, and then change fee, as far as fee structure with the pool and after hours parties. So. Upcoming challenges that we're going to have is minimum wage. With minimum wage passing in November, that's where that really impacts us the most, is at the pool, due to our managers and lifeguards and so forth of trying to keep fees low but continue to get people to work. Cost and time on projects. One thing about time, the good thing is that when we get things from contractors getting bids out, they talk weeks to months, no longer months to years in most of the projects, so hopefully we don't have to deal with waiting years for things whenever during the COVID time, so that's a positive thing. Cost, nothing's getting cheaper, so getting things at quality. Another one, as far as the homeless population and restrooms, we did have a few problems over dealing with each of these, and had a couple break-ins into our restrooms, or one break-in a few people did take, but hopefully we got those resolved and did have an improvement on it as far as last year goes to this year, where it was at a very minimal instance. And then the pool debt service, which we'll have that until fiscal year 2031, so we'll continue. But the good news about that, we did get a good interest rate on that whenever that was taken into place, so thanks to finance on that. Just some of the commitments that we do, and just some overall things that happen in Parks and Rec that we participate or do, such as mowing and cutting trees down, planting trees. We usually participate in Earth Day, Arbor Day. We've been a tree city for approximately 45 years. Hasn't been consecutive. There was 2 years that we can't find, or that they didn't issue us, but overall, and then for me, one of the things that is a positive to me is that this is the only community that I know that gives shelters free of rent, so for the amount of shelters and the amount of usage that we do encourage people to reserve it, but they do get free rentals of shelters, so and I'll be happy to do my best to answer any of your questions.
I have one.
Yes.
Kind of one. It's not really, you weren't here. But I went back and I watched some of because I had heard about this lifeguard issue from some of my friends at the park board.
Yes.
when we approved that pool, I went back and watched some of our videos to make sure I wasn't crazy. We were told this was going to cost less lifeguards. And now we have more lifeguards. When we approved the slide, we were told it wasn't going to cost us more lifeguards, but it has. So who's the fault? Where's the blame in this situation? Because part of the reason we approved the pool the way we did was because it was going to be less expensive with less lifeguards, and that's why we took away. One of the complaints was there's not a big swimming area now. Well, if we had a bigger swimming area, it would take more lifeguards, and this is going to reduce lifeguards. And now I'm hearing we need more lifeguards than we needed at the old pool. So I don't where's the disconnect? What happened here?
I can speak on the slides wise, on that part. I don't know if it was taken into account that there'd be a person at the top and a person at the bottom on the slides, I can't speak on the overall of the pool, I can only speak of with what I've been here, but I know on the slides, that's two additional side of things of adding, because you have the person at the top and the person at the bottom.
But we were not going to have a person at the bottom. That's why we didn't go into the pool.
Right.
That's what we were told. We were told, well, because the question was asked, why don't we just put it into the pool? Well, then you'd have to have a lifeguard right there. Well, now I have to have a lifeguard anyway. So I don't understand what happened here and who is to fault. Was it the people, was it Westwood or Westworld or whatever? I can't remember their name. Or what happened? I mean, you probably know more what the situation is.
I really don't remember the comment in regards to when the overall pool, but I thought the overall pool, when we did it, it was about the same. But when we did talk slide, I know we talked that would add people. So I don't think we knew it was going to add 2 additional people.
Right.
Then obviously the time to cover, just for the hours, 2 turns into 4 pretty quick when you look at it that way. So, but I don't know whether there's really more in the pool or not than we had in the old pool, but the slide certainly did add.
Right, well,
part of it, I think, was when we did the slides, they ended up being a lot more enhanced, enhanced than we originally talked about. And so it just may, at the time, this was just kind of the change in plans that sort of met what we did. And, but it was sort of a evolutionary type process.
Are we not covering costs
No, pools never cover costs.
of them?
No.
Well, that's why, that's part of the, like today, like right now, it's new, it's great, it's new, but
Right.
I mean, attendance is probably gonna keep going down, but you're still gonna have the same amount of lifeguards. And that was one of the things that when we were deciding this years ago was how can we save money?
Right.
And one of the ways we could save money was to have less lifeguards. And the swimming club even came in here and was like, well, you're doing away with the swimming, pretty much. Well, we can save lifeguards if we do that.
And we
Now-
added that back, so.
Oh, yeah, we now have the whole pool now. We had a big pool.
It's very popular. I mean.
It is right now, but these costs
Oh,
are costs
it will
that'll
be, yeah.
never gonna go away. So I just didn't know how we got from A to
Pool
B.
income cover the daily expenses of the pool? I know it doesn't cover the debt of the pool.
No, so we did have an increase of about 9,700 on revenue as far as the overall, but as far as the cost recovery is, and I say this and I can give you the exact, is about 52 to 56% with where our cost recovery on the pool was.
So what's the budget?
Budget is, I'll get back with you to 100%.
I just wondered how much,
Yeah.
52 to 56, I want to know what 46%
Right.
was.
I won't give you a number, but I'll get it to you.
Sure.
I mean, because it's in our, budget
Sure.
book. I just, since it's on the record, I don't want to say the wrong number. So.
And it's not you, I'm just
No,
trying to figure out how we went from point A to point B, and the pool's great.
Right.
But I have people that have come to me that are concerned, because this has already been brought up at the pool board, or the
Right.
park board.
Correct, no.
And so there's people out in the community, and they're like, well, we did
Correct.
away with all the real swimming area.
Yes.
because most of those areas, that swimming area we do have now has all these things in it, you know, the swings and the
zip lining,
you know, right. It doesn't really, unless it's empty, it's not really a swim area.
Right.
And so that was just a question, comment. So that's all.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
We could build some swimming lanes. A lot of pools have separate swimming lanes. We could do that at great amount of expense. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, thank you, Chad.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's go on to approving the minutes. Do I have a motion?
Move we approve the minutes of January 13th, 2025 regular meeting.
Second.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Williams,
Abstain?
Miller,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Okay, we're going on to Section 5, resolutions. These require only one reading by title only and passage, and we begin with Bill number 2025. This is assign a task order for additional design service to about sewer lines. Mr. Schlegel.
Yes, Your Honor. As council is aware that we are doing some stormwater-related infrastructure work, which was help funded through the American Rescue Plan Act. And one of the projects we're working on in North Washington, there are some sewer issues that need to be addressed at the same time. And it seems to make sense to do them while you're there and to cover the details, which they will be covered under the grant as well. But Drew Williford.
Good evening, council. Bruce covered a pretty good introduction on this. It does relate to our ARPA stormwater grants. This particular project is located on North Washington between Allison and Robinson. We're replacing the existing gravel shoulder that's on a pretty steep hill because every time it rains, that gravel ends up washing down and gets into our storm sewer system. So as part of that, we found out that the sanitary sewer is actually in conflict with where the proposed storm sewer will be. In order to deal with that, now that we have plans fully complete and we even have a contractor who has been awarded the project, which is Plan B development, we have approached Bartlett and West with a request for a task order to design how that relocation of our sanitary sewer will work. So they'll provide plans to relocate the sanitary sewer so the storm sewer can go in and not be in conflict. This also includes hooking back up all the different houses that are along that line on North Washington Street. This is covered with the grant that we have. The way our projects worked out, we actually had about $574,000 remaining in the overall grant that we got, which is a 21% grant. So we will be using a portion of that money to cover the design of this, and then once we have that plan, we'll ask Plan B here for the terminology, to develop a change order and cost to construct it. So this is a phased plan. The first step is getting the design from the engineer, which is for a total of $18,224. Once we have that, 45 days later, hopefully, we will then be able to approach Plan B with the actual cost, which will be far closer to, I'm guessing, $75,000 to $100,000. And all of that money will come out of that $574,000 that we are under budget on. So we would recommend proceeding with reading by title only and passage of the resolution. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
I move for reading bill number 2025-2505, sorry.
Second?
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes. Bill number 2025-05, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign amendment number 1 to task order 2301 for additional design services to relocate sewer lines relating to a ARPA grant DNRSW E6ACF09 D6A299 21% match with Bartlett and West Incorporated. I move for passage of bill number 2025-05.
Second?
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is Bill number 2025-06, and this has to do with the resolution authorizing city manager to execute an on-airport memorandum of agreement. Mr. Slager.
Yes, Your Honor. The city has an agreement with the Federal Aviation Administration, and this is in regards to maintenance of some items that they are responsible for. This has been a 20-year agreement that needs to be renewed, and to cover the details, once again, Drew Wilford.
Council, as Bruce mentioned, there are actually a total of 6 different pieces of equipment out on our airport that the FAA maintains. We're very fortunate in that our airport has these particular pieces of equipment maintained by the FAA, because if we had to maintain it, it'd actually be a substantial annual investment for the City of Mexico just to maintain those 6 pieces of equipment. These pieces of equipment generally provide aviation safety to pilots landing at the airport. So think about alignment of the airplane as it is coming down both vertically, aligns the airplane through a system of lights and also different piece through radio equipment, and then also horizontally to make sure that that plane is centered on the runway. We also have a system that provides weather information to pilots as well out there, which is the Automated Weather Observing System, the AWOS system. And so all of those pieces of equipment work together to promote safety as the airport is being used. The FAA has an agreement with us that expires September 30th of this year, 2025, and they're asking to to sign another agreement, which will expand that with their maintenance of those facilities for another 20 years, ending in September 30th of 2055. So we'd recommend to proceed with reading by title only and passage of the resolution. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Questions? Motion?
I move for reading of bill number 2025-06.
Second.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
yes,
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Bill number 2025-06, a resolution authorizing city manager to execute an on-airport memorandum of agreement, MOA 697-DCM-25-L-00034, between the United States of America Department of Transportation, Federal Aviation Administration, and the City of Mexico, Missouri for the Mexico Memorial Airport. I move for passage of bill number 2025-06.
Second.
Yes.
Weber,
yes,
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Okay, we move on to other business, and we now have a staff report on a mapping grant for sewers. Mr. Schlegel.
Yes, Your Honor. As part of the grant requirements that we are to provide regular updates in regards to our management of stormwater facilities, and this is that update time, and to cover the details, Drew Wilford.
Council may recall, we were awarded a grant through DNR's, and they call it the Section 604B, which is dealing with water quality. It's Water Quality Management Planning Grant. And this is separate from all of the other stormwater grants we've been talking about. So this is only for stormwater mapping. We're, as a municipal separate storm sewer system, or MS4 community, we're governed by DNR to enforce certain requirements. One of those is what we would call an illicit discharge tracker. If we end up having a substance of some sort, chemical you could think of, get into a stream, we have to have a storm sewer map in order to track where that came from. It could be miles away. So if you ended up having a company have a spill, that goes into our storm sewer and that gets piped eventually, maybe to the town branch, we are mandated to have a storm sewer map to aid in tracking down that particular item. Not only does it help us with that, but it also helps us maintain an understanding of maintenance. So how much storm sewer do we have? How much do we need to plan for fixing any problems? We have gone about this particular grant through a phased approach. We ended up budgeting $35,000 last fiscal year, so it'd be 23-24, to begin a stormwater mapping project. That is not part of the grant. when we were doing that, we found out this grant existed, and through the help of Mark Twain Regional Council of Governments, we were able to apply for this grant, and we successfully got it. So we also have $35,000 of the city's money budgeted this year, but we also get an additional $50,000, so $85,000 total, for putting together this stormwater mapping. And what we have been using is a old CAD map, a computer-aided drafting map that you might think of as something that's not to scale. And what this will do is actually use survey-grade equipment, and it will give us a precise location. And we're also recommending we move forward with CCTV work on the storm sewer throughout the general area as well, because in our first phase last year, we did the same project, same work in the general downtown area, and we had about 40 pipes that were cameraed as part of that work, and we found over 12, nearly 12, that had failed. And we've already purchased pipe to begin addressing some of those, but that's a significant amount of pipe that is deteriorated and is in need of replacement. So we're moving forward with the idea of a project that will map not only the structures, but also essentially scope the pipes so that we can get a feel for, are we at a spot where we might have a sinkhole develop. Some of you may remember just probably a good 6 years ago, maybe as pre-COVID, I would say, we had a large sinkhole develop along Clark Street, and it was right around the Jackson and Promenade area over there, 10 foot deep right underneath a sidewalk. And no one knew about it until the first brick paver fell through, and it turned out that was a 10-foot deep hole. So these programs are intended to mitigate that. It's intended to find the problem before it
Excuse me,
happens.
where did you say that was? I've forgotten.
Along Clark Street,
Clark Street.
around the Jackson to Promenade area, and that was about 6 years ago, I would say. So we're finding more of those kinds of problems with collapsed pipe that lead to sinkholes in the downtown area, so we're recommending to proceed with a project, and this is the start of it. This is the first update for the project. The project itself has been sent out for advertisement, so we're hopefully going to select a consultant for the project here in the next month to month and a half, and we'll hopefully have this back before you with a recommendation. I would say the first meeting or the second meeting in March is what we would be looking at as far as the timeline goes. So with all of that in mind, this is going to be probably a year and a half project. It is going to be mainly a mapping project, so you won't see construction going on, but it will lead to a large amount of construction if I had to be honest. From our results in the phase 1 study of the downtown, what we have done is we're expanding that area to include Liberty Street to the south, agricultural to the east. You can think of Highway 15 to the west, and then the north city limits to the north there. That's a large area. A lot of it has ditched areas along the side of the road, so we don't need to inspect that for pipe failure, but certainly there's other old areas of town, thinking through just east of here near the hospital, that could be areas where we need to take time to improve the storm sewer throughout the area. So all that to say, it's a project that is now kicking into gear. Hopefully you'll see something before you for review in another month and a half, and we'll move forward with the work after that. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
That many breaks in the pipe, I'm just curious, what kind of pipe was it down there?
Corrugated metal pipe, a lot of it was.
What does education, outreach, and feedback look like from the public for storm sewer?
We have a few different mechanisms for that. One is a public meeting, is what I will call it, that we establish a meeting like this environment, and then taking comments afterwards. We have a stormwater website, funny enough, that we need to promote more often. We have a method where you can go on that website and anonymously provide information on the storm sewer even. Also, we're going to have to hold a stakeholder meeting, which we are going to do, I think, next quarter, if I remember correctly. And that'll be where we invite the public into an environment like this and post it in the paper and try to get word out as much as possible. Any kind of questions from the public about stormwater quality, we would try to answer at that point. If there was, for example, an area where someone knew, I'll just throw a theory out there, someone knew there was a pipe that has problems and they've seen it, it's in their backyard, we might go ahead and add that area to the scope of study just to make sure we capture it. So some of those outreach. We also have quarterly social media posts and quarterly, I say quarterly, I think newspaper article is going to be published 3 times during this. So there's a slew of different public education and outreach requirements that are part of the grant.
So stormwater quality, you're talking about sewer leaking into it or something?
Could be that. That's more of an extreme one. Could be as simple as erosion, sediment going downstream, something as simple as that.
So how long till we map the whole city?
That's a very good question. So we were planning on about a 4 to 5 year project with a $35,000 a year. That was the figure we came up with initially. The problem with that is we added the CCTV work to phase 1, and that ate up a good amount of the money in that first phase. The further problem with that is it generated a huge amount of concern. We have a long list of problems down in our downtown area that we're going to have to find a way to budget for pretty well in the next fiscal year. We bought the pipe, so we're going to do a lot of work internally. So now that that money has been used for CCTV work, we now have the grant to cover some of that, so additional $50,000. If I had to give you my best guess, I would say probably another 3 years have been added due to that. So we're looking at another it would probably be a little over $100,000, but some of that is offset with the $50,000 that we get from the grant.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, thank you, Chad. We have claims.
Make a motion to pay bills?
Second.
Briggs,
Yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Okay, we are now to council comments. I'm going to begin about something, and then, and it's not going to be the gala, you can talk about that. Most of you read in the paper that Mexico received a big award, a state award from the Missouri Council of Arts. And you might follow that story a little bit. I'm sure you've done it on KXEO. But it's an award, it's called Creative Community. And it's a big state award, and some of us are going down to Jeff City, and I, for one, I'm going, and I was talked into receiving the grant, receiving the award. And I also had to write a speech, so Lois and Brace and I worked on that a little bit. Anyway, it's on February the 5th, and it's pretty exciting. And if you want to see what it's all about, go to the Presser webpage, and you will see Mexico Creative Community, and everything that was put in the grant is in that section. Anyway, it's a big deal, and you might want to kind of pay attention to that. We are probably the smallest town, or smallest community that's ever received the award. Usually, it is Kansas City, St. Louis, or Springfield who get that award, and this time we won it. And so it's pretty exciting for us. It's really exciting for the Presser people. I know that Lois wrote the grant and her staff, and it's been pretty exciting. So anyway, I just want to make you all aware of that, and I have nothing more. I'm just going to pass this on, and Chris, you want to go next? Chris Miller?
Well, since you said I was supposed to talk about the gala, I say the gala was great. It was this weekend. There was a lot of people there, a lot of good music, and if you didn't go, you missed out. I don't think anybody got too drunk. I didn't see the police report.
They were having fun.
But think about going next year.
Yeah, thank you. Steve?
Nothing really. I just, thanks for the report, Chad. I know that the Parks and Rec do a great job of providing quite a bit of stuff for the people of Mexico, and, you know, I look forward to it warming up so we can enjoy those parks, but that's about it.
Okay. Welcome back, Chris.
It was just one meeting.
Go ahead.
I wasn't here last meeting, so I just want to say, I know everybody worked really hard to get the snow out. I know that was a tough storm, so appreciate everything everybody did for that. Appreciate your presentation on the parks, really getting some stuff done. I appreciate that a lot. And that's all I got.
You have something.
Okay, yes, this evening, you will notice that there are two people sitting at the clerk's table tonight. For those that don't know, Marcy has announced her retirement from the city, and so we had to move forward with a hiring and a replacement, and we have done so. And you have Nicole Chisholm sitting here tonight, and we welcome Nicole. She is, I think, what we would call a local girl with deep family roots in the community, and we are very happy to have her, and welcome aboard, Nicole.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
Forgot Larry.
Oh, Larry, you're on the, yeah.
Easy to
Thank you.
forget, Larry.
You kind of usually forget it, it's no big deal if it isn't anything anymore. Thank you.
Move adjourned.
Not quite yet.
Oh, we gotta do
We've got
public.
public
Well, anybody out there? No.
Yeah, I know, there's nobody out there,
Matt,
but
Ron?
I have to say it anyway.
Ron,
Yeah.
say it.
It's time for the public participation in our council meeting. If you have something that you would like to address the council on, you have 3 minutes, state your name and address, and is there anybody? I would take a second to recognize that Ron Ray is here and running by himself now for city council, so welcome, Ron. Okay, now, that being said,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Briggs,
yes.
Weber,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.